Yeah, first off, thanks for everybody being here. I think it's really important. And having been in development for 4 years prior to my current position, I just really have a high esteem and value for developmental coaches. And it's really where the rubber meets the road for USA Wrestling, and it's where the needle's getting moved forward. And in my opinion, the national team is very, very important, and that's where our funding is generated, so our performance is critical to the USOC's allotment of our funding and our access and programs moving forward. But in my opinion, equally as critical is the developmental side of things, and so I appreciate what you guys are doing with your athletes and making the effort to be here. And I'm teaching, but I also come into the room with an attitude of learning. And so if there's anything, we're going to go over some Underhook stuff that is pretty relevant to what we're doing on the international level with the national team. But if there's anything that you guys want to see or want to talk about or ask questions, and if I can shed any light on it, that's what I'm here to do. And as I said, I'm here to learn too. So if there's things that we're not covering and you guys need more of, then for sure let me know. Get these tied up and then I can start paying attention. Before I get going in any technique, is there anything you guys want to talk about or ask about or know about? I mean, with regard to the trials or where we're at with the Olympic process and with the team. If there's anything like that, certainly let me know and I can maybe try to answer any questions. But
so if you win the tournament, that's
yeah.
your spot no matter what.
Yes.
Or do you guys?
No, you win the tournament here. You are the guy. You're the Olympic trials champion. I wouldn't say the Olympian. We still have 2 weight classes to qualify, right? So for freestyle, we have 65 and 86. So we have 2 weights to qualify. And does everybody understand that qualification process? Each country has to qualify their weights specifically for the games, separate from making the team. So technically, those guys aren't Olympians until we get that weight qualified.
So you guys can't go back and can't pick your own lineup.
No. No, we don't do that. There's debate on the merits of that and the way other countries do things. Yeah. It's more, they just have a different culture. I think that would be a challenging process for the U.S. to implement something like that. Zeke had a system that was a little more subjective. It wasn't really. There were some pretty objective markers in there, but it was very confusing and complex. And I think it was born out of a good idea. But I think where Bruce has it now and where it'll be in future, I think is better. It's just a better system for us. And just in general, Russia, Europe, Eastern Bloc countries, Turkey, Iran. They have more centralized training, but communism and different forms of government, they have a different societal structure that supports that, and we just aren't that society. So I think there's some aspects that we can borrow. And the thing about centralized training, that what makes it work is the consistency, and so we can create consistency without having centralized. I mean, we're decentralized, right? We have RTCs, and before that, it's kind of semantics. They're called RTCs now. Before it was clubs, but it functioned basically the same. Elite level clubs, postgraduates training with college programs. And the NCAA pipe is always going to be our strongest ally, and so we can create consistency within that to move forward without having to say everybody has to be in Colorado or wherever, pick an arbitrary location. So anyways, and so just to clarify on that too, the qualification, those 2 weight classes, they're 65 and 86 for freestyle, And then Greco has 3 weights to qualify. The women have 4 weights to qualify yet. 2 weeks after weigh-ins are tomorrow, 2 weeks day to day, the next qualifier is in Mongolia. So the winners from here at those weight classes will fly. I fly home on Monday. On Saturday, I'm going to Mongolia. And our athletes will head over. The women actually leave. They wrestle first, so they leave before we do. I think they're leaving Thursday. So it's a really quick turnaround as far as the travel goes. So we go to Mongolia, wrestle there, and the top three finishers in that competition will qualify into the games. And they'll wrestle it like a true international bracket with two bronze medals, and then those winners will wrestle for the true third. So the 2 finalists and the true third winner qualify to the games. If you don't get it done there, another 2 weeks in Istanbul, Turkey, the 7th and 8th of May is the final qualifier, and you have to place top 2 there. So it gets increasingly challenging if you don't get the job done. So we feel pretty confident on our side that knowing who's qualified, the Europeans will be in a week from now, so they're literally like 4 days before the qualifier, which should benefit us. The Asians were 2 weeks ago, so that takes another 4 qualifiers out. So predicting who those winners are and who the ones already are, we kind of know who our competition will be. And coming out of 65 kilo, we feel pretty confident. I mean, as you guys know, it's that weight class especially is going to be just a gunfight from round 1. So we feel pretty confident that whoever comes through that is going to be a strong medal contender and be ready to qualify that weight. So it is challenging, though. Like I said, scratch weight, 2 weekends, apart. So
only one athlete per country that's allowed those 2 qualifiers?
Yeah, yes. If only non-qualified countries can participate, and only 1 competitor per weight class. So you can't like there in the old days you used to be able to go to like a domestic qualifier and you were already qualified for the trials and you go knock somebody out by winning the event. They don't let that in the international thing. It's about filling the bracket, right? There's 20 competitors that go to the games.
Or will you guys decide?
We'll take the winners and probably the number 2 guy as a training partner, but also in case there's, it's long travel, right? It's 14 hours time zone difference from, 13 from here, 14 from Colorado. It's probably 37 hours worth of travel to get there. Anybody that comes out of 65 kilo is probably in a weight management situation, and they're all pretty professional about it, but having to do it twice within 2 weeks. And then 86, weight management isn't probably an issue, but just a quick turnaround, jet lag, sickness, sprained an ankle in the finals, but you still won. Are you your best self? So we'll be prepared to have 2 guys there. So, and Bruce and myself, and then any personal coaches that if the personal coach wants to go, they're welcome to come along. And so we have a pretty large delegation with the 9 athletes and then all the coaches and support staff. And I mean, we have a huge crew going to Mongolia. So, all right. Anything else? Yeah.
Will you be demonstrating this freestyle? Will you be demonstrating some Greco as well?
Well, I'm going to cover underhooks, and my personal philosophy on wrestling is wrestling. So I don't really. There are some subtle differences with regard to style. I wrestled a lot of Greco all my life, from the time I started wrestling all the way through college, and even there wasn't a lot of people wrestling Greco here at Iowa when I was in school. They kind of thought if you had a headlock that was Greco, and there's a lot more to it than that. But when I moved to the training center, I trained Greco, so I think it's kind of universal application. I'll talk about it a little bit. If you have any questions, I'm not covering. We got some Greco experts here too. So. All right. Any other questions? I'll get into some technique. All right. So Underhook, when Mike asked me to do this clinic and these types of clinics, I always try to stay with what's current and relevant to what we're doing on the national team, because I think that's the best way to disseminate information, and what works on the senior level also works on the youth levels. Interestingly, as a developmental coach, for a 4-year period, I was seeing 4 world championships a year: the cadets, the juniors, the university, and the seniors. And seeing the differences, but more strikingly, the similarities to what is being successful and what isn't. And I'm going to tell you, 15, 17-year-old kids, cadets, there are some really good wrestlers out there. And the positions, they're all the same thing. The main difference that I would say between those age groups is the obvious physical maturity factor. But the quality of skills is pretty close. Not much difference, really. And you guys probably witness that in your own rooms. You got kids that come in and, honestly, in my opinion, the young guys, they learn a lot faster. They don't have the habits, and they don't have the, I know what I'm doing, I'm an NCAA champion, I'm a whatever I am. Sometimes, right now we have a great culture in our team, and we don't have too much of that, but sometimes those kids learn really well. So this stuff that I'm covering is, it's really relevant to what is going to be a focus area for us going to Rio and all of our elite teams at the developmental age group. So Underhook being one of the most critical, if not the most, certainly in the control tie stuff, offensively and defensively. So, when I teach, when I'm coaching, I generally don't teach offense and defense in the same position in the same day, for the obvious reason. You don't really see any progress or success that way. So, but as far as teaching points go, I'm gonna do that a little bit here today. But Iran, Russia, especially Iran, there are a lot of things that they're seeing from underhooks. They're just controlling position right here. They're using various ways to get into underhooks. A lot of times, Iran, what you're seeing is they'll shoot single legs and just come up, and they control an underhook and a wrist, something on the far side. And they're using it to put a lot of pressure with the edge of the mat rule, the out of bounds rule. They're really not trying to score. I'm just trying to put the pressure. Okay, there's my point, right? So when I start creating anxiety, he's starting to hold his ground, right? And this is our opportunity. This is our opportunity. So we have to be able to deal with that kind of stuff. And so my thinking, my thought process, this might not be everybody's style offensively, but we have got to know this position well enough to deal with it, at least from a defense. If I'm a no-tie kind of wrestler, I got to be able to deal with his underhook. And so I start with clearing the position. I'm real picky about semantics, words, and I'm not thinking about it in a defensive manner. You would say defense, right? He's got the underhook on me. But I think defense kind of, it makes you think in a passive and negative way. And from a defensive aspect, in all positions, especially even in parterre, guys think defense, it's static. And I think we have to be offensive-minded. I have to win the battle, right? I have to be very proactive. And so starting from underhooks to clearing this position, I have got to be offensive-minded. If I start defense, this is what I think of. And if this guy's worth his salt at all, when I start to clear away, he just stays into me, and he's going to run me out the door. And so with an underhook, and it's great that we got a Greco guy here, right? Because their underhooks are probably better than freestylers in a general sense. But I got to drop my hips. The same battle, the same fundamentals that are going to win offensively are going to win for me on the defensive side, which is I don't want space. If there's space in here, it allows his hips to rotate, to pop, to throw, to hit some sort of offense, and I got to shut that down. I have to take that ground back. So as he's trying to get strong and elevate me and underhook, I got to get down and in. And it's not, I got to be very careful that I'm not leaning. It comes from my hips and my legs. So even outside, I prefer an outside leg actually, but I want to get down here and I want to close this gap. No space right here. This is trouble for me. It's trouble for him too, actually. It depends on who's taking the initiation. But space is really not a good thing. So this is the most important thing, is getting tight hips here, but look where I'm at. I'm vertical, right? I have balance, so I can move here. This is the way my body was made. This becomes a mistake for us. Even sagging, you see a lot of this sagging away, and it's somewhat effective, but it's not maybe the best. Yeah, exactly. You know, I start sagging away, snap me into front headlock, and all manner of other things. So I'm trying to win the position, win this battle first, and then the next step is once I win this position and clear, I'm going to turn it into my offense. So that's I always want to think in those terms of if I'm in a position that I'm uncomfortable with, you know, defensive position, offense, doesn't matter. I need to clear and get to where I belong and then turn that into offense instead of just clearing and doing stuff like that. To me, it's just a terrible waste of time, and we just have limited time, right? 6 minutes. It's not a lot of time to score points, so we got to maximize. Okay, so I'm getting heavy hips down and into them with leg pressure. I'm keeping my torso upright and vertical. I'm not contorted over this way. Any kind of movement like this, I should be moving him. I should be, you know, even in Greco, there's some pretty good leg wrestling that happens. It's maybe subtle, maybe not so subtle for the trained eye, but you know, this kind of stuff right here, you know, maybe I come right across the head and I'm literally pulling him over my leg. But because my leg was there, it was established, well, it's not leg wrestling. But it is leg wrestling, right? My leg's not there, it doesn't work. So hips in tight, upright here. This arm, down and heavy. So I want to be down as low on his arm, as weak as possible. It's really simple. He's really strong up here and he's weaker down here. So I want to fight the battle where I can win. Heavy and low. Okay, head to this side. Now maybe I can pop the chest to create a little space and re-pummel. I turn it into my own underhook from an offensive perspective. So I cleared, I neutralized his strength, I cleared the position, and then I'm not going to do this. The guy's in trouble. I'm already winning the battle, right? Boom, right here. Okay, so up here, maybe this is a better angle. He's getting strong, he's moving into me. I gotta get down, hips down and in, and I'm not even going this way. If I can, I'm gonna attack into him. Here, this arm comes down low to the elbow, and real simple is just to re-pummel. Maybe pop on the chest here, but I'm not popping me back. I'm creating space, I'm moving him back to re-pummel. One. He's got a good underhook. He's going to clamp his elbow tight to his ribs, or he's jacking me up, elevating in a real strong position. And I'm getting in. I might go right across his face. Okay, not a cheap shot. I'm not punching, but I'm gonna re-pummel here. I don't want to get stuck like this. So I'm gonna go right there. I'm still going into him. Okay, so one is pop the chest here, like heavy pop, re-pummel. Sometimes when you re-pummel, some guys dig like this. Here, boom. Pushing this arm in, it really doesn't come from my shoulder. And that's really important, especially for young kids to understand. If I start pushing here, he's gonna just clamp, catch my elbow, right there. And as I push, he's going to arm drag, boom. What happens is I start pushing with my arms and my feet don't move. And then I'm in big trouble. So I'm here, I'm pushing with my legs. This. I push. I'm using this, But the power of the movement comes from here. I want to go into him. And the more I can move his hips, 90% of what our sport is about our hips in relationship to his hips. Single leg takedowns, pressure, position, balance, right? I move his hips. Where's his hips at? Mine should be going up and through his. So here's no different. I should be going through his hips. In. Yeah.
You're not looking for any body locks or muscle position?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm looking for anything and everything that you're good at that's high percentage. High percentage scores. This is old Gable philosophy that I spit out a lot. I love technique. But this is the fundamental idea that it crystallized things for me when I was young in college. Gable said, if it works for you, use it. If it's costing you points, if it's costing you points, it's really easy. It's not working, right? So then you got to change. But more often what we do is we cost ourselves time, which translates to points because we're just wasting this position. I hate this position. There's zero chance for either of us to score unless he's terrible or I'm terrible, right? And we're going to beat that guy anyways. It's the really good wrestler that we have to deal with. So I want advantage position. I don't want to waste time. So if I'm clearing, I want to body lock, boom, step outside, take him down or whatever else you do, underhook throw by. If it's, freestyle, folk style, I might drop to a leg, boom, and however you finish. I'd say score the points. Okay, so here, pop the chest, use our legs to re-pummel, come across the face here. Be very careful. I'm turning my shoulder a little bit like this. You got to be real careful with that. My arm goes across his face, but I re-pummel. I want to keep my limbs as close to my body as possible. When I get extended, I get weak. So I don't want to turn and give an angle, and I don't get extended where, even here, grab my wrist and drag, boom. See some guys do some tricky stuff out of there. So once I clear, boom, I get into the position. Keep my arms, my body together. Another one that I like real well, clearing an underhook, is I'm going to get here, I'm going to go down, and I'm going to circle hip to hip. Again, semantics. Circle, right? You're circling, but I don't want to go in a circle around him, again, with the hip idea. I want to go into him. And this is really important when you think of it from finishing single legs or high crotches. You see kids running in a circle like this. No, I got to go through him. And same deal here. So if I just circle like this guy's too good and he's too strong. I'm not going to make any ground. So when I go hip to hip, I'm circling, but I'm into him. And I'm taking this arm back and below his elbow. And I want to get it between here, thigh, hip, chest, wherever I can get. And I'm going to pry, boom, boom. I'm just going to keep circling and break his elbow. Okay, when I say break it, I don't mean like snap break. I mean break the position. But it hurts. So when you're drilling it in practice, you got to be careful on your partner because you can put a lot of torque here. He gets that arm caught behind my back. He wants it out of there. And sometimes they'll rubber arm and limp out. Well, I've accomplished what I needed to get out of this underhook, right? Now I'm back on offense. He limps out, boom, I can attack. But this is it's a pretty good little trick. And right here, still everything's the same. I sag, I get into him, I'm using leg power, hips, no space here. I'm getting down to the weak part of his arm, and then I'm gonna take it out. And as I feel it getting here, I'm gonna fish this position out, and I'm gonna turn it to my offense. 2-on-1, boom. Okay, so going back to turning things into offense, we have to, because there's finite time, there's only 6 minutes. we cannot afford to let people off the hook. And I understand it from a certain aspect. It's safety, right? I got to get, I'm clear. Okay, now I'm good. He can't do anything to me from here, but I can't do anything to him either. And the best athletes that we know in our sport, one of the consistent principles is when they have an advantage position, they sting the guy. It costs them on the scoreboard. And I think it's really important for us to mention that and talk to our athletes about it so they're aware of that idea. And not just from this position, but where you see it a lot is guy shoots. And just real quick, I'm not going to teach it, but he shoots, and I stop him in front headlock, and then he fights his way up, and I go like that. I just let him off the hook. Dang, no. He was in a major disadvantage there. I've got to score those points. So I have got to learn how to score from a front headlock, whether it's snap down, go behind, or near pick, far pick, whatever you do, right? And we all know the technique. So it's more, especially with young kids. I had great coaches. I had some really good coaches when I was young. And as I got older, when I was young, I just thought that's how it was. As I got older and looked back, I thought, wow, these guys were really good. I was really fortunate to have these types of people in my life. And they didn't coach down to me. They didn't coach down to the young kids. They coached to the best kid in the room, and it brought everybody up. And so just that philosophy has been important, and I've seen it in my experience especially with the developmental kids. Like I said at the beginning, they learn a lot faster than some of the, senior guys. And so this kind of stuff, just, hey, look where you're at. Look where you're at. Don't let the guy off the hook. Don't be stupid, but don't let the guy off the hook. Take down to turns, transition, same thing. Shoot a single leg, guy goes down, I go, I plop down on top. No, dang, his hips were in the air, keep them up, look for your arm Turk, leg Turk, transition to your gut wrench, ankle ace, whatever. You have the guy in trouble, keep him in trouble, take advantage of it. That's the whole name of the game, right? Who's the baddest guy in this circle, right? Well, I'm not the baddest guy if I keep letting him off the hook. So from here, getting back to my long-winded answers, I fish this out, boom, and then right away to whatever offense you have. A lot of times when these three kind of things, these three options, I've always gone near side. It's just because it's the simplest. It's right there for you. So if you guys have any questions or certainly any input, I enjoy learning. But that's what I'm going to go. I'm going to go what's quickest, what's there. I'm a high crotch guy, and so I'm a right leg lead. I shoot high crotches with a right leg, but these are points right here. Boom. So I'm going to take the points that are staring me in the face. And then if the guy circles out, of course, boom, he just stepped into my wheelhouse. So, but I feel like it's consistent with the theme. Don't let him off the hook, and don't give away points that you can score right now. Whether it's takedown, edge of the mat, unless there's 2 seconds left and I'm down by 1, I'm not running the guy out of bounds. I'm going to finish and I'm going to get 2 points and a chance to turn him on top, because the out of bounds is going to be there and it will take care of itself. If I just wrestle, if he's smart, he'll go out because he gets a fresh start and he only gives up 1 point. I want to score. I want to maximize my points production in a smart, thoughtful manner, but in a very stingy and aggressive sort of way.
Coach, Coach Steiner said the same thing, but why do we see so many guys drive the guy out?
Because it's easy, and it's quick, and it's definite, and those are good things, right? You want to take quick points, you want definite points, but we also, in a training environment, like I said, in a match situation, 14 seconds left, 30 seconds left, whatever it is, 30 seconds, I might wrestle. 30 seconds, I got his leg in the air, and I'm down by a point. I might try to finish for 5 or 10 seconds, maybe not 10. Because the longer it goes, it starts scales. You know how that goes, right? But if I score 2 here, now I'm ahead by 1, right? And I didn't really ice the match because ahead by 1 it's literally still a tie until the last tick of the clock, right? But it makes me a little safer. Or you add criteria, right? I mean, that's in the moment, you'd have to know that. But going out of bounds, you know, if I'm down by a point and it's 30 seconds, I might try to finish. If I don't, get him out and I win the match, right? I got 14 seconds left, head position, I'm wrestling. I'm being offensive minded. You know, I think that's a big mistake. I'm getting way off course here, but I think it's important. Is I'm ahead by 1, lead management. And guys totally change what they do, right? 30 seconds left, and they start doing this, right? Uh-oh. You just wave the white flag. I get so nervous when I see our athletes doing that because they're not thinking winning. They're thinking prevent. It's like surrender. No. My risk level would change, but I still want to be offensive minded. So as it relates to this underhook, maybe I'll go get my own underhook and maintain head position and stay into them and look like I'm doing something. Okay? Be smart. Be aggressive. Proactive. Be proactive. Aggressive maybe is too aggressive. But proactive, right? The things that made us successful for the first 5 minutes and 34 seconds would probably make us successful in the last 26. You know, risk management though. I don't need to take a shot. I'm going to take ground. Make him do something stupid. Put him on the edge. He's got to come, right? Make him take a shot. Okay. Snap down, go behind. I'll take another easy point. Okay, clearing this underhook, fishing this out to a 2-on-1 here, and then whatever you do. Everybody's got their own tricks. There's 1,000,001. That's what we all love about wrestling is figuring it out. Next thing here, guy, maybe elevating an elbow. Guy's got head position on us right here. This is a tough one. I still got to get in here. I'm going to block. I like the thumb block a lot. I want to control when I'm attacking the opposite side of the body. Again, same idea. I don't want to be up here where he's strong. I want to fight him where he's weakest, maximize my power versus his power. So I'm going to thumb block here in the armpit, and I'm going to circle and create space to repummel. Okay, with head position, if he's got head position on me, I'm going to block here, down and in, circle. Next option would be here. Not up here where he's powerful, but at the forearm or below. I don't, when I say thumb block, so everybody, I don't know if everybody, I'm thumb down here. If I post like this, he's going to pop and duck. Boom. Big trouble for me. Here, he can't, I keep that in there, right? I shouldn't be doing this anyways. Just keep my elbows in, right? I created some space. Boom. I created space, and now I can give a little bit of ground, circle to clear. I can get, I hesitate to tell kids especially, but I hesitate to tell somebody who's not good in this position to give ground. You're going to give ground, but that's not my personal feelings. That's not my first comment, because that makes them think this. And that can be trouble. It can be trouble. It can be just as much trouble as this. Now I got to shore up my position for sure. If he's got head position, I shrug, I get, boom. But I actually went in to then give ground. Circle. When I give ground, I never want to go straight back, straight away. I'm circle to clear. Circle. Increase, I'm changing angles, right? I'm increasing my strategic position versus his. either thumb block in here or here. In order of priority to me, head position is where our whole sport starts and stops. It supersedes a good stance. It supersedes good offense almost. Now, guys can score without head position, doing funky things, but fundamentally speaking, it's where my offense starts, it's where my defense starts. It's one position, it's one idea. I don't have offensive stance and defensive stance. I have head position, and I can do both from it. And if he's got it here, that's where I would go first, is head position. Now I've taken some ground. Now I boom, boom. I clear the position and then go. Okay. So now we've cleared 3, 4, 5 options for clearing, repummeling, cross the face, breaking the elbow, thumb block, arm block. Now I've cleared it. Now I want to score. I've beaten the position. So a lot of times here we're seeing this kind of stuff, and there's some guys, Abduslam Gadasov, 97 kilo, the kid that Snyder beat last year, world champ the year before. For a lot of years, he's been considered maybe the best technician on the Russian team. Sadulayev now is maybe changing that, but he's very good. So one of his best attacks is right here. So he comes out and he'll kind of give a little position, right here, creating space, boom. And then I'm circling here just like we were to bring this foot around. Oops. Boom. And then sweeping the far side. I have to have space here. I have to have space. Boom. I can't go right here. No space. This is good when we're attacking in, right? But in this instance, if I go, I'm probably going to get snowballed. If I go here, he's whip over. So I'm going to go here, circle, boom. What I'm doing is I'm wrestling myself back into my position. I can't shoot very well from here. I can't shoot. So I sweep. Yeah.
If you know, when you scout a guy like that, and you know he's scoring out of the underhook with that safety,
Yeah.
and your athlete is a good underhook guy,
Yeah.
how do you treat that? How do you deal with that? You tell your kid not to go where it's comfortable,
Hammer on fundamentals, right?
right?
If you have the underhook, you have to have head position, you have to control far side. If he's got head position and he's got far side, my wrist is what I love, right? He's got my wrist. It's hard for me to shoot from here. It's hard for me to shoot. Now, if I get to here on him, what would I do from his perspective? I'd probably circle this way, try to reestablish head. That's the fight, right? Who can impose their will? This is, if I'm the underhook guy, I'm right. This is what I want. He's not going to shoot on me. So just that fight, right? I have a head position. He reestablishes. I go back, and I shouldn't be hanging out maybe that long. Good question, because we did that with Snyder a lot. Because he likes underhook a little bit. I wouldn't say he's really good at it. He likes it. He's actually the guy I was thinking about here. I hate this. I hate this for him. One, it's his strength is his strength, right? He's very powerful. But he'll get here and shore this position up because he can hold, and he's not threatened, right? Guy can't do anything. He can't do anything either. What do you do from here, Kyle? Right? Okay, let's develop something here. Let's learn a throw by. Let's learn a level change. Even if you're not scoring on a level change like a Greco-type slide by. Boom. I'm moving the guy. I'm creating some activity, especially with a kid like Snyder, or predominantly any American, if I can make him move his feet, that's costing him some major energy. And that will pay dividends for us. We're not trying to break him and have him fall to pieces on the mat. We're trying to beat the guy. And the more I can get him doing this, the higher probability I'm going to catch him in bad position. So, wrestling him. Let's see, another one. Actually, I kind of got away from the clearing and the defense. Some other I want to get back to that's really important. So these are the ones that I've showed so far are fundamentals, but we're also always evaluating like current trends, right, and what you're seeing. And so what we've seen this last 2 years, there's a lot more wrestling happening because of the rule change, right, since 13. Those 2-minute periods were just toxic. But it's just risk level, right? In 2 minutes, if I make a mistake, I have very little time to come back, right? So consequently, neither one of us want to do anything, especially if I know he's better than me or vice versa. If he's better than me, what's my incentive to wrestle? 0. I'll go to the ball grab, right? At least I got a 50% chance. A 50% chance of a 90% win, right? The ball grab was a 90%. The offensive guy wins it. I mean, what a joke. Pulling a ball out of a bag. Okay, so with 6 minutes, now we can wrestle, right? If I make a mistake, slip on a wet spot, no big deal. I got 4 minutes to come back and score some points. So you're seeing a lot of creativity. So one is we're seeing is guys snapping. You guys familiar with Keith Gavin? He's probably the best American that does this. But out of an underhook, sometimes guys will get lazy and they'll just let us have head position, even though it's his underhook, right? And we get to this thing where we're leaning and sagging hips out, but he's still hanging on to it. And we're seeing guys snap to clear. And same principles here. I don't want to snap up here where he's strong. I want to get down low. And I'm just going to step, boom, and snap to clear it out. So, but again, like I said, it's critically important. I want to have head position so I'm not snapping a guy into my own legs, of course. I don't want to be raising up. I want my hips going down and away. Just like if you're familiar with this 2-on-1 kind of snap thing, I create pressure in, and when I snap, I don't just pull him to the floor. I go down and stretch him out. Same movement. Here. Boom. Snap to clear. Get low on his arm. You're cutting through the weakest part that you can. In practice, of course, be aware. I mean, you can hurt somebody's elbow with this stuff. Another one that we're seeing, it's really pretty tricky. It's kind of fun. You're seeing guys cartwheel out of stuff, right? It's from all positions. You see it a lot from the underhook. See it from guys in on leg too, a lot. And we spend a fair amount of time. When I say a fair amount of time, I mean we might spend 3 minutes in a practice, not every single practice, but a national team training camp. We'll see it in a 1-week training. We'll see it at 2 or 3 times. We will spend 3 minutes on this. And it's not that we think that it's going to be our bread and butter, but if we understand it from an offensive, mechanical perspective, we're going to be more prepared for it on the flip side as well. And sometimes you got the freak athlete it'll catch on with him, right? But I'm probably not going to advocate, hey, Burroughs, you need to start cartwheeling. Did you see Sadge Alive? He's cartwheeling. You got it. Nah. No, but we do have to be aware of those trends. So, especially with Iran and the way they're implementing their underhook, I mean, it's obvious. Every man on the Iranian team wrestles this position. They spend a lot of time in their national team training camps learning how to underhook and create pressure. And without getting too deep into it, there are 2 kind of offensive positions. There's one when I have an underhook with head position, and there's one where I don't. And they don't really interchange very well. I have to have head position. If I give an underhook and he has head position, there's nothing. This is a tie. Okay, if I don't have head position, I need my shoulder right in his sternum. Okay, so and I can wrestle from one to the other, But technically they don't, you can't have half of this one and half of that one. So I'm going to put my shoulder right in his chest, right here. And this is the strategic one that Iran's using. So they shoot, they come up here, and then they crowd, and put the guy on the edge, right? I'm just crowding into him. And he's got to hold his ground right here. They're just doing this, right here. And they're waiting for this guy to make a mistake. If he tries some, he's got to do something, right? He's got to do something. So I'm creating anxiety. I'm forcing him to make a mistake. It's really low risk. So what we're seeing on the counter side of that is, especially you can see I'm lower level, my hips are a little further out, and so guys are cartwheeling from here, okay? Both from the feet, but also more commonly from the knees, but, I did see Zadick in Las Vegas. I'm drawing a blank on what match it was. Was it quarters? I was thinking it was quarters or semis. Semis was Iran, right? So it wasn't Iranian, and it wasn't Turk in the final, so you're probably right. He's cartwheeling out of here. This guy's got his hips way out, and again, this arm, I'm keeping it between us to create some space, and I'm just feeling the position, okay? And then they're just cartwheeling, boom, all the way through. Now, there are some fundamentals. As funky as it is, there are fundamentals that apply. So we all know why we don't step over a whizzer, right? Guy high hips and kicks you over. You get pinned or thrown for 4 or 5 if it's Greco. So same idea here. I don't want to go, if he's bent over and I'm going to cartwheel, I'm not going over his body this way. I want to cartwheel and stay on the same side of the body. So what will help is when I commit, you got to commit. This is not one of them things that you kind of walk your way through, right? It's like you got to go. Is posting this hand. Okay, I'm going to post this hand too to keep my head off the ground. But this hand, it seems to help our athletes a lot that are trying to get this and they're going and falling off. It's this hand, the overhook side. I'm being overhooked right here. Create some space, and I'm going to kick. I'm going to create momentum. I'm going to post here, and I'm going to kick off this foot, my back foot. Boom. And then I'm coming up ready to wrestle. More commonly from the knees, right? Say this is the out of bounds, and we're down here wrestling, and he's trying to edge me out, and I should be trying to win this knee battle, inside leg. But say I'm not, and he's getting me in last ditch. I'm going. I'm going to post. I stayed completely on this side of the body. This hand helped me keep my head up so I can recover. My hips float off, boom, and I come up running. I come up wrestling, right? I would emphasize key fundamentals. How do you do a go behind? Well, I run to the leg. I run below the butt. I don't reach around the waist. I don't try to come up over his head where he's going to come up under me. I keep my far ankle, near ankle, hamstring or butt. Sometimes we get away with going here because we just beat him. But anytime you get away with something, it will burn you at some point in your life.
You're not keeping the elbow, you're releasing it.
Yeah, I mean, if I could, I like to drag. On go-behinds, I like to drag.
Well, I mean, on the cartwheel.
Yeah, so same thing, like this, right? Front headlock. So I keep weight on this shoulder. I want to beat this shoulder with my hips. So from a straight go-behind, boom. I beat the shoulder, I win the score. Other idea is I want to keep weight on his head. So from here, I want to do the same thing. He's wading into me, and I got to go. Boom, here. Catch. Boom. Keep weight on this end, beat the shoulder, and keep my arms low. Like I said, I think it's a very good athletic movement for us to be familiar with. And again, like I said earlier, is I don't think it's going to be our bread and butter. But there's a handful of guys that are doing it very successfully. Russian kid Kasumov, he was, in 2015, he was a silver at the Urigan at 70 kilo. He's now coming down. It's a kid that, did you guys see the World Cup last year? Nick Marable had that barn burner match with the Russian kid. That guy, he cartwheels all the time from everywhere. So we got to know it. He's cutting down to 65. He wrestled Urigan at 65. I don't think he'll be their guy, but, you know, never know. Probably not. It's probably going to be Romanov. Those two additions, the cartwheel, the snap. All right, I kind of got ahead of myself and I started on this offense thing here. Boom. Sweeping. Again, to be super nitpicky, a sweep to me is a finish, not a shot. It's not a penetration step. It's too long, it's too slow. If I sweep, it looks really pretty when you drill it. You know, when you're shadow wrestling before the turn, ooh, that guy's really slick. With this guy, if he's got head position, even if I beat him right here, right? He knows I got him. If I sweep, dang, he'll correct by the time I get to that leg. So I want to go right to the leg. Boom! And then I'm going to keep shoulder pressure. What works? What makes a single leg or a high crotch work? One of the keys is keeping my shoulder tight to the thigh. Shoulder and head tight to the thigh, right? Same idea. Shoulder and head tight. So I want to hit this and then keep pressure. That's where I sweep. And I don't just circle around him. It looks like that, but I have to keep a lot of shoulder pressure into that thigh. And some guys, there's different philosophies. Snake it, wrap it. I think it's individually specific. I'm short, so if I snake the leg, it's very hard for me to keep my shoulder tight because I don't have the length to maintain that leverage. So, especially wrestling with the Steiners in college, I'd shoot sweeps, and it was so pretty and nice, and I get to his leg every time and never score a point because he'd stuff my head and sit on me and trick me and kick out, and you get booted right in the chin a lot. So, right there, there's just a big hole. Trick knee, kick, just turn your knee, yeah, kick out. Boom, right in the chops. So I adjusted to here. And it's shoulder pressure in, outside, well, inside hand becomes my post hand to keep my head up. If he tries to sit on my head, I can push it. See, I pushed in, the foot came up, and then I wrapped it. I don't want to hug both hands on the leg for the obvious reason, he's going to sit on my head. So I clear this underhook, boom, right here. Heads up. If I do this, I'm going down. Heads up, in, foot came up. Transition. I didn't let him off the hook. Took him down, he was right in my lace. I'm gonna score my lace too. Guy kicks out. If I'm trying to pull single legs this way and a guy kicks out on me, tug of war, I lose. If I'm going in and I'm wrapped above the knee, I'm going in and he kicks out, I'm going to go along with him. And if he kicks out hard, boom, I can come up to my feet. If I'm thinking of coming in and up to my feet, which I should be. And it's obviously a point I emphasize. If I don't, we get kicked out on. Specifically me, I got kicked out on a lot. Arsen Fedzayev, you guys know him? Russian guy in the 80s, 7-time world Olympic champ. Really good. Very basic guy. As good as he was, as successful as he was, he didn't have a whole lot of flashy. Satiev, totally different style, right? Satiev was Sativ doesn't even really have a great leg attack, not a great one. He's an awesome scrambler. He creates flurry. Very hard to teach Sativ's style because what is it? It's win the freaking position. He'd just grab something, create some goofy thing, and man, what a competitor, right? So both very successful guys, but totally different. And so this came from Fedzayev, is where I learned. The guy would shoot. He would shoot. He's a left leg lead. He would shoot basic high crotches. The guy would throw his head inside, and he'd switch to here. And then he'd wrestle. He'd wrestle inside leg up, outside leg up, down, whatever I'm trying to say. Either one is fine. Either one is fine. Just two legs on the mat at the same time is not good. I can't move. I have no throttle, no gas pedal. One or the other. And I should learn how to wrestle like this. And with YouTube, man, we have access to so much great stuff. There's some flurries you can watch of him, 45 seconds, 57 seconds, minute 2, something like that. What was the old Russian dude's name? Right before Sativ burst on the scene in the early 90s. Can't believe I'm drawing a blank. Red-haired guy. It starts with a K. What? No. Freestyle guy. 74 kilo. Same weight class. He and Buvaiser Sativ. Sativ wrestled him when he was 19 or 20. 95, he won his first world title. That year at Urigan, I just watched the match this week. Black and white, so it was really kind of cool. It's not that old, but I don't know why I was in black and white. It's like a minute and 2 long scramble in this kind of stuff. It was, but way funkier even. But you can look up Fedzayev, and I would encourage you to do so because he was a great head to the inside single guy. He shot a terrible shot, and he finished a lot of them because he just would wrestle. Post. Guy starts sprawling, and I'm losing the leg. He'd slide from the knee to the butt to keep his hips tight. He's built like most of us, short, stocky. So it's really applicable. It wasn't real long and lanky like Sativ. And so what he was able to do so successfully is very applicable to the majority of our athletes. And so anyways, too long on that. But so underhook, I'm clearing, I'm circling. I'm not pulling back like this. I'm not. I'm going to get ankle picked. If I get away with it, shame on me. Shame on him, right? And that's the problem. We get into a room where I've dominated him for so long, he's just used to getting beat. So he doesn't really believe he can beat me in practice. So I'm very successful with the sloppy habits that I have in my practice room. That's why it's important for our national team to get together. That's why it's important for athletes to challenge themselves with a variety of partners within the room, but also competitively or even in a training environment. So I need to circle here, boom, to the leg. Even too much of this on my own part. Just try to get straight to this thing here. Boom. Right there. Sweep. Another one that we're seeing a lot is fireman's carry out of there. So near side and far side carry or outside carry, whatever you want to call. So outside carry, almost the same as what we're doing. Boom. Here, keeping this elbow. Pull. Elbow back to my ribs. I transfer here. Go boom, boom. Outside carry. Again, space. Conventional carry. Okay. That situation is more of I'm not a huge fan of the Kelly firemen's, like in and back, forward, backwards. But in this situation, it's probably more apropos. because of the pressure, because I'm creating space and he should be challenging me. Boom. I should hop way under his hips and get him in the air. Get his hips off the ground. And from straight offense perspective, I like more of an inline type fireman's. I think it's cleaner, safer, where I shoot here. I'm not stepping up and my legs in my own way. I just step out and I pivot, rotate outside knee down, inside knee up, boom, and snap it off. I don't roll down to my shoulder, I don't post. It's like a stomach crunch. I snap it off. I throw him off me and I hang onto the arm. And I settle in for the touche. But sometimes it's maybe hard to get the penetration, the forward momentum from here. If you get it, great. It's devastating. It's very, going back to being sure and definite about your finishes. That's why I like that technique. And that's why I don't like the Kelly. Because the inherent problems, if I don't get this here and the guy sprawls on me, I'm trying to do that. Just the ugliest kind of wrestling. Whew. Nobody wants to see that from their own guy, right? Whereas an inline fireman's, if he's sprawling and stopping, I should be going this way anyways. Keep getting my hips under me until I get him up. Even there, I shortcutted it. I cheated just to show you guys. I should be driving my hips under him until he lifts. It's not horsepower, it's just position. My hips are under his and he gets very light. If I have to go, I'm not there yet. Keep driving. Keep getting your hips under him. Hips, my hips, his hips. Underhook here. Up. Was it Andrew or no, it was, but wrong reference. It was Chris Perry, Andrew Howe, 2 years ago, NCAA finals, right? He didn't really fireman's carry him, but it was basically this. Howe, horsepower. Chris Perry, got him right up in the air and took his feet off the ground, and I think it was the only takedown of the match, was it? I don't know if I'm sure about that, but maybe we'll see it again this weekend. Very good chance that those two guys could wrestle. And then you got a whole paradox or Pandora's box, right? That's what I was trying to say? Pandora's box of tricks, right? Tricks. And I love tricks. But tricks work when we wrestle to the fundamental of the position. Wrestle the fundamental. Moving my hips, moving his hips, creating some space, boom! Then it works. You know? So whatever you do there, and that's obviously a decent one, is inside trip. But when we inside trip, I got to have my head on the same side as the overhook. A lot of guys do this, try to trip out of here, and get smacked right to their back. Boom! Hurts. It's more demoralizing than it hurts even. And it hurts pretty bad. You know, hurts my neck, my back, my knee. But my pride gets bruised the worst because you just look like a fool. I got to get my head on this side. Basic inside trip technique is I don't hook and I don't trip. It's really a misnomer. I just drive through. It's like a double leg. It's like a no-handed double leg. I got to drive. The first thing that should hit the mat is my knee, my own knee. If I touch my toe, I'm taking power away from myself. And he's going to get his hips in and strong. He's doing a great job. I'm old and sloppy, right? You can see it because he's got really good position, and sometimes I have to do it 2 or 3 times because I'm rusty. So when he's challenging me here, and maybe I'm wrestling. There it is. I throw my head to the same side, my hips, all that weight comes down on that underhook, the overhook for me, his underhook. My hips go in. That's why emphasizing the knee, because when I post my toe and then go down, my hips don't get into them like they need to. And I want to take, all I'm basically doing, I'm not really, well, I guess I'm tripping him. But I think too many people try to sweep it. They try to do this with everything. Underhooks, arm throws, headlocks. They try to pull everything to you. When I pull in wrestling, I pull me to it. Same in this case. When I shoot double legs, Jordan doesn't go like pull the double leg to him. All he does is get his fingertips behind that guy's hamstring and boom, plow him. You can do the same thing. So I'm going to catch him, and then I'm going to go through this back leg. Okay? I tell kids, we don't reach with our hands, right? Don't reach. I don't reach with my feet either. High leg finishes. Don't reach. I go to it, and the same thing here. If I have to reach for an inside trip, I'm going to get flat back pancaked. So I take my body to it. Heavy here, I'm wrestling. In through his hips, heavy down. Yeah.
Zeke Jones showed that, but he showed it off of trying to hit a hip and arm.
Oh yeah.
You have that?
Like a headlock. So that's why I would probably go. I might go to that first because I'm a headlocker. My Greco background.
I've not seen show it. I was wondering if you.
Yeah. Same idea. Same thing here. Boom, wham. Really nice sag headlock. Okay. I'm sagging here. I'm circling maybe opposite way. This is where that space is going to kill him. If he allows me to get space, boom. Sag headlock. You mean?
Or maybe if you hit
Oh
it,
yeah,
and
and he stops me. I could go here, and he jacks me up and come back. Yeah, I don't know if that's what he did, but yeah. Adam Satiev, Buvizer's little bigger brother. He's actually little brother, but he wrestled up. 2000 Olympics. Yoel Romero. He goes inside trip, doesn't get it, boom, left-handed headlock. Devastating. Match ender, he pinned him. There's, I'm still, I know Romero, and I know how powerful he was. I'm still in debate whether that was reality or maybe business. But nevertheless, it was really good. It was really good. So yeah, I think he went here, right? Boom, wham, and clobbered him back the other way and pinned him in the finals. I don't know if I can do it that well. So, my brother has a really good inside trip. His is from outside though, not from underhook. He just like shoots to it, like this kind of stuff out here. And I can do it here, but I don't do it like he does. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But so here, inside trip, headlock. And then you get into like this wizard kick type stuff, further down the fundamental chain, so to speak. Mostly, I was actually decent at this wizard kick. I had some success. I see some other guys having success. I think the most successful application of this is just to clear it. Once in a while you catch a guy, just boom, and he flies and you score a nice, pretty throw. But not that much. So a lot of times it's here, boom, just to create space and get out of there. If I think I'm that, it's not judo. Win the position. Get out, get back to where you belong. So I see some guys do this stuff. And again, like I said with the cartwheel, we spend time here. Again, not thinking it's going to be our bread and butter, but to be familiar and understand the basic principles. I don't reach with my arms. I don't reach my legs. My foot's way too far out. You got to crow hop like you're throwing a baseball, right? I got to hop my outside foot under his hip. And then when I go, I got to keep hopping. right? Sorry, I stepped on his foot. And so when we're training, what I want to do, I want to keep elevating. I got to keep hopping to keep that leg up. If I don't hop this leg under, I don't have power. And so I want to hip, and I want to float my hips all the way over him. I don't want to stop on the near side because that's where I'll get rolled through. I want to take my hips all the way across his body. So, you know, maybe we're here like this, whatever, however it happens, I hop, boom. There, I'm out. But I want to go this way. And sometimes for a drill, we'll just have this guy, you're going to kind of cartwheel with it. I'm going to cartwheel on the whizzer kick. Here we both post and go down. And I'm just going to cartwheel over, but I got to float my hips. This is the floating drill, right? I want to end up over here. Not if I end up over here, this is where I'm in trouble. If I end up here, he circles out. It's too loose, right? Unless I catch his headlock. But that's, if I end up on this side, is where he body locks and takes my momentum, right? And rolls me through. I got a post. It's just like headlock post. Same idea. But instead of posting with my hand, I'm posting with my body over. I don't know. I mean, there are infinite tricks. And like I said earlier, they all work in a given application. They don't all work all the time. So I spend my money, my time on the high percentage fundamental. Winning the position with my hips, battling here, getting down this arm. I got to take ground. I got to be offensive minded. I got to move into them. I am attacking my way, if not to points, for sure to safety, and for sure back to the position that I really belong in. So, here. That's where I need to be. Hips in, body upright. Just if we think of balance, right? That's how my body's made. That's why we stand upright. And I walk this way because it's easy. It's efficient. I'm powerful. I have balance. I have mobility. When I'm wrestling, I want to maintain as much of that as possible. So I don't want to be doing this kind of stuff. Okay? Even when I'm low, I'm still, that was another trick. See, that's actually pretty common too. But into him here, and this arm down to the weak part of his arm. We spend too much time up here fighting. Or latching on that I talked about. I talked about it briefly with Snyder, but we do this. Or he gets an underhook on me, and I go, what do I do, coach? He's a Greco. No, just wrestle. Win the battle, win one thing at a time. Maybe it's head position, I win first, then my hips, then I win this. Yeah, somebody say something. Where are we at on time here? Any other questions?
How do you teach? How would you teach? How would you deal with trying to teach your younger guys how to spar?
Spar?
Because a lot of these positions,
Yeah,
instead of them fighting each other, you can
great question.
get them to go through it. But how do you do that with a first, second, third guy that's
We all know that wrestling, it's really technically dynamic. It's a high, takes a long time to get good, right? There's a lot of feel involved. So get them out there and have them play. Maybe we use that term a lot. All right, we're going to play. Sparring. Go out, play with it. Unscripted, whatever. 30%, 40%, 60%, whatever you feel. Go play with the position, right? Try something. Does it work? Does it not work? And, I talk to him. I tell him. I'm not trying to Jedi mind trick him. It's like, go play. You got to figure it out. You got to feel it. I can teach you everything I know. You still have to learn it yourself. You have to be your own best teacher. Go out and play, figure it out. Otherwise, I'd write a book. No, I would have read a book and became an Olympic champion. I'd read it and know it and go do it. But just, that's kind of how. We spend a fair amount of time doing it. I mean, you're familiar with periodization, right? So in our first period, our first, 3 months of the year-long training cycle, base conditioning and strength, technical learning, a lot of our hard wrestling at that time is sparring. That's okay. Here's what we broke down: the whole world championships. We broke down all the medals. We broke down every match. We broke down you specifically. Now you know what the combination of those 3 evaluations, what does that mean for you? Go play with it. We spend a lot of time, October, November, December with that as we transition to our volume training in January, February, March. So.
Do you have any specific drills to maybe teach kids to snap, kind of like a pico or a golf, or
Yeah.
some things?
Yeah, one really good drill. Okay, so first point of emphasis that I would start with is when your hands are moving, your feet got to be moving. That's a given for wrestling. And too often we see guys that do this and they're working really hard. It's really taxing, actually, because little muscles, they take a lot of oxygen to make them work. These things, they're much more efficient. So I want to move him like this. And so a simple drill is just, of course, doing it, drilling the technique. But one thing we can do is this guy starts on his knees, puts his hands on my shoulders, and he leans in. So he's giving me a little pressure. And I'm going to snap and move my feet. Snap and move my feet. It's not 1-2. It's together simultaneously. And so I'll snap. Maybe I'll snap from inside. Snap and misdirect. I would always add that to it. So we're not snapping straight down. We're not snapping backwards and clearing away. I'm snapping to the angle. I'm actually going forward. Ideally, I'm going to snap. Hands low, below the hips. And so this guy's just recovering. I'm snapping, misdirecting the head. He's turning back into me right here. Stuff like that. Stuff like that to start him with correct movement. And then add resistance as they become proficient is kind of how I think. There are positions, I can't really think of one right off the top of my head, but there are positions where you need resistance to execute correctly. The stuff you don't, especially with young kids that are just learning, correct movement, muscle memory. Get good muscle memory. When you have the repetition and you have the instinct, then add resistance and build to it.
Just having a hard time, they'll snap and they'll just stay.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that letting people off the hook situation. Same thing right here. We do this, we snap the guy down. Even in this drill, he's on his knees. That's why I do the go behind, because we snap and go like this. I mean, no wonder that's how you drill. No wonder you wrestle that way. So my head drops, my hips drop, my feet move. Hands move, feet move. Body position is like 5 things, right? But it's one unit. And so with young guys that I've taught, I say, okay, anytime you hear me say body position, this is what I mean. I mean, on the balls of my feet, knees bent, butt down, head position, moving, in motion. Those are understood. So I've taught you. Now when I reference body position, it means all of those. So here, back up. I don't want to do it too hard on you. I wouldn't want you doing it too hard on me. Hopefully that helps. Anything else? All right. Well, thanks guys for being here. Hopefully it was valuable and worthy of your time. Like I said again, I really appreciate what you guys are doing. And if I can do anything to help, please get a hold of me after this event this week. you want clinics, you want, I can help get athletes out to you guys. You want a specific guy that does something, and you want to get him out to your club to help your kids, give us a call. You can find my email on our website, staff directory on themat.com, or it's themat.com will get you there. But my email is just first initial, last name, at usawrestling.org. B Zadick, Zadick, at usawrestling.org. And if I can help you guys with anything, I'd love to do it. Like I said, thank you. I really appreciate the effort that you guys are making. You have your hands on these kids every day, and you guys are the ones that are making the difference for the next Jordan Burroughs, the next whoever big shot is, and hopefully there's, hopefully there's 40 of them in this room, So anyways, thanks a lot, guys. Thank you very much.